All right, here we are. You got a few friends here.
Yeah, we do. Just fixing the button. Yes, I do. Yeah.
All right, cool. So for the few people that are in the room that have no idea what's happening right now, today is the Lawrenceville Art Crawl, and we're kicking this off with my good friend Zachary Rutter.
Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
My name is Sykes. I host a podcast called Start the Beat with Sykes. It's all about arts and entertainment in the Pittsburgh area. We're doing a podcast here with Zachary today, and then we're going to have from 5 p.m. up until this place closes live hip hop for the entire night. So if you're hanging out and you want to see some hip and hop and rippity raps, this is going to be a good place for it. Really, really cool lineup. We have My Favorite Color, awesome. BB Guns.
Oh, great stuff.
Isaiah Small. Brittany Chantel.
Oh, the best.
And Sykes and New Violence, which is my group. Am I leaving anybody out? It's not your responsibility to know lineup.
Abstract
Theory. My bad.
That's right.
Sorry,
That is a
y'all.
Pittsburgh powerhouse lineup of hip hop artists.
Yeah,
that's everybody.
It's a really killer lineup. But you know what? We're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about you.
All right, let's talk.
Zachary Rutter. Been trying to get you on the podcast for a while. For those of you in the room that have no idea who Zach, or do you prefer Zach or Zachary? That's an important question.
I like Zachary.
Zachary?
I really do. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You're a persona that demands respect and extra syllables.
Yeah, maybe.
I got it. Zachary versus Zach. Yeah. 3 versus 1. I got it.
Yeah.
You're worth 3 syllables though.
Thank you.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
That's just the start. You got to get through the door. If you can get through the syllables, there's actually a sweetheart underneath there.
Yeah, but no, you are. For those of you that don't know, Zachary. Zachary is a really dope artist here in Pittsburgh. You might have seen his art recently smeared across a Pat bus.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick. Yeah. How'd that happen? That's crazy.
I'm still in shock that happened, honestly. Yeah. So that story actually starts back at Three Rivers Arts Festival last summer. I did a painting of a bus driving down the Smithfield Street Bridge, and I just painted my heart emblem, which is the Spread Love Heart, on the side of the bus on the painting. Fast forward to October, this whole negative thing and the Tree of Life and all that sad stuff was happening in the city. I took the initiative to tweet at Port Authority that same painting and said, hey, I think that the city could use some love and some positivity. Would you guys be willing to do something like this? And they thought I wanted them to wrap a picture of the painting, the whole painting, on a bus. And I had to emphasize, like, no. I wanted to put the heart on the bus that's on the painting on the side of the bus. And they said, oh, I love the idea. So yeah, I was greeted with a message from the CEO of Port Authority on my Twitter. And through the power of social media, we got a Spread Love bus that's spreading love.
Yeah, when I saw that, my mind was like, whoa, like that's such a powerhouse move, but again, for a really good cause, and really speaks to the power of what is capable through things like social media and Twitter and things like that. It's just so wild now. It's like, oh, I want to put my artwork on the side of a bus. Let's just tweet at the bus company.
Trust me, I did not think that. I was so shocked. I put it out there. I was like, at the very least, someone will see it and like the picture, get the good message. And then it was actually a random Pittsburgher, a random Yinzer retweeted it and tagged the CEO. And that's how the CEO got in touch with me. So it's cool to see that the city of Pittsburgh is starting to appreciate the power of art as well as social media.
That is really, really cool. And congratulations on that and everything you've been doing. You've been making a lot of moves anyways. Let's talk about this video series that you've been doing with local musicians.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So I recently in November, I moved into a studio in Friendship, PA, and it's on Friendship Avenue. So obviously enough, as it was slapping us in the face, we decided to call the studio Friendship. And what we started there is called Friendship Sessions. It's like a mix of Bob Ross meets like NPR Tiny Desk or like MTV Unplugged. So it's a mix of live painting and live music, typically acoustic, but we do make arrangements when needed. And it's just fun. It's local musicians that come to my studio. I do a new painting every time, and we film 2 songs, an original song and a cover song. And it's just a really wonderful time and a cool experience. There's a whole vibe that our videographer always captures, Benton Palermo. He captures like an essence to it. There's some type of energy that you could kind of feel from like this collaboration. And like, I think at the essence of art and music, that collaboration is just a powerful tool.
Yeah, it's been really cool recently, just in the past couple years, seeing all of this collaboration happening within the local arts community. And I say arts, like I generalize that because it really is like, oh, you have visual artists teaming up with musicians and linking up with their videographer friends to create series like this. And it's really cool to see people doing that. Just if for anything, just to see people hanging out and doing productive things and putting awesomeness into the world.
Definitely.
Because the world definitely needs it. right now.
Seriously, yeah. So we were lucky enough to work with 12 different musicians in the city, and it's exactly like you said. We devote our Sundays to doing these video series, and it just feels like we're doing something good or important. You know, it's not like we're just hanging out and sitting around doing nothing. We're doing something we love with a purpose, with a mission, in a cool environment, and it's just really unique.
But at the same time, you are still just kind of like
hanging out,
putzing around with your friends.
Seriously.
But like,
I spend more time laughing at these video series than like just having like a good time than I do anywhere else, honestly.
That's awesome. So again, I mentioned this is the Lawrenceville Art Crawl today. For those of you that don't know what you've walked into, there is live music and art happening from this spot. This is the furthest, I don't know if we're north, south, east, or west, but this is the furthest down Butler Street. This goes from here all the way up to Round Corner Cantina.
Yes,
and there's spots happening all in between. So if you have nothing else better to do today, walk around and enjoy some art.
Seriously.
Zachary is set up all the way on the other end at the very start at Round Corner Cantina.
Yes, I did. I thought I was going to have to walk a 26-minute walk over here for this, but I was lucky enough that my friend Pat was willing to drive us over here. So that's awesome. Yeah, I think that it's great. We have someone great starting at the beginning, someone awesome finishing up at the end. Like I said, man, the music that's going to be playing here tonight are some of the best. And some of the guys that are actually performing have done friendship session videos at the studio.
Oh, really? Who?
Yeah, Abstract Theory did one. Number 4 was Louis Petrona of Abstract Theory. Number 12 was Isaiah Small.
Oh, cool.
And we're in the works with Brittany Chantel and BB Gunn as well. So,
all right.
Yeah, we're definitely.
Where's mine?
We're waiting. We're ready, man. We're working on the booking. Like we said before we started, Pittsburgh is packed for the summertime, so scheduling is a nightmare.
I totally understand. As somebody that, you know, runs a podcast, it's super hard. I put up a post like a few months ago, like, who wants to be on the podcast this year? I do episodes once a week, and I got like 80 something responses, and there isn't even 80 weeks in a year. So it's like, crap, you know, how am I going to manage all this? But, you know, try to get multiple people on one or something like that.
Seriously. And then I bet all 80 people hit you up 3 more times. Like, hey man, when are you going to get me in? When are you going to get me in?
No, they're patient. People are patient.
Yeah.
So diving into kind of like a more deeper part of this conversation, I'm more curious about this spread love thing and like where that originated, where the heart thing originated. Cause I've seen you around for a couple years now, and that's been a staple in your art for a while, you know? So where did that come from? What was the origins of that?
Okay, so just diving into the backstory a little bit. About 2 years ago, I was working at Michael's Arts and Crafts as just a custom framer, and a local famous Pittsburgh artist, Baron Batch, walked in to the Michael's.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, I'm working the register, and he's trying to buy some supplies. I start talking to him. I didn't know who he was at the time. I just saw this big, tall man covered in paint, and said, "Hey, dude, I think you probably sell paint. Are you an artist? Are you a painter?" And he said, "Yeah." And after he had said his name, I've obviously heard of the name Baron Batch. It was familiar. I kind of freaked out a bit. I was like, "Oh, dude, no way, you're Baron." And we kicked it off. He actually invited me to a studio, offered me a job as his assistant in his studio space, and taught me a lot about like process and time management and how to actually make a piece and stuff like that. And asked me why I want to make art. Why do I make art? And I was like, I don't know. I want to just do something good, something positive. And I started painting works that was trying to put a positive message. And I thought, like, what can I add to this? How can I make something that like just stands alone? Like what's that one thing that stands out to people? And a heart came to mind. And I went to college for fine art, and I minored in art history. And there's a famous artist, Keith Haring, who has a painting of 2 people dancing with a heart behind it, and has these little black wiggly lines that come off in every direction. And that kind of hit me at the same time I was trying to find out what I wanted to do. And I kind of tweaked that a bit and made that my own, and added the big, bold, square rays in every corner. There's 8 of them that branch off from the heart. And I thought, how can I make this as simple as possible? What do I want to do? I want to spread love. Oh, how do you spread love? You open your arms, you open your heart, and the rays coming from the heart is the love being spread. So that's really the whole meaning and how that all began. That's awesome. I think that one thing that artists have a problem with doing is remembering that when you're creating art, you need to, I guess it's okay to create art for selfish reasons, but I think that it's really unfortunate when artists overlook the potential to connect with other people and the people that are going to be looking at the art and interacting with the art. And I think something like the spread love message that you sprinkle throughout your art. That's not really how you sprinkle things, but we could talk about that later.
the way that you use that message is your way of connecting with other people and bringing them in. You know, it feels that you do art for a lot less. It's not really, it doesn't feel selfish. Your art doesn't feel selfish.
Thank you, man.
Some other people's art might feel selfish,
I
but
really appreciate that.
sometimes that's okay too. Sometimes selfish art is cool.
Yeah.
Depends on what you want to do, who you want to be.
I think art is meant to be a conversation, and those people that you may look at as are selfish. They're just trying to have their conversation. And they say, like, you know, the old saying, like a picture's worth 1,000 words. I was trying to find a way to put a positive message out there in 1,000 words. Heck, I want my paintings to kind of resonate 1,000,000 words. You know, I love trying to connect to people visually so we can have those conversations. And I open my work up to allow for stories to be made by the viewer so much as what I want to put into it too. Like, I know what I want to put into it, but what makes me more excited is when someone tells me something completely different from what I put into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is it's all conversation. And I think at the Spread Love Army at the core, that's what we're trying to fight we're trying to fight hate with peaceful conversation, just being good to one another and talking it out and just being cool. You know, like, the conversation is a powerful tool and a powerful weapon that we don't really use because we're too busy getting angry, you know?
Yeah, especially nowadays. It's real easy to get angry.
Yeah.
We should have brought some of your art down. Didn't think about that.
That's all right.
That's okay. If you want to see some of Zachary's art going up to Round Corner Cantina, it's only a 26-minute walk.
What, 8-minute Scooby scooter ride if you've got the Ave.
Yeah. Or if you have your vehicle, you could take a drive up there.
That's true. That's
so
true.
Now, I mentioned a little bit ago that I had met you a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And in those past couple years, you've continued to work. You've continued to grow your presence online and elsewhere. Obviously, your art's on the side of a Port Authority bus, so You're growing. How have you, as an artist, adjusted to business and like the marketing of being an entrepreneur of sorts?
Seriously, no, that's like I mean, like I said, I had an art history minor in college, so I was studying artists that were businessmen. Like Andy Warhol, that was one thing that he preached, was that the ultimate form of art is business. So I looked into that and I studied that, but at the same time, I owe it all to like being around Baron Batch and watching how he ran Studio AM and like how he handled commission works and meetings and things like that, and just being able to see someone at a level above me in my area doing it and showing me how to do it. You just got to retain that type of information like a sponge, and just watch how other people are doing it and learn from their mistakes and grow with their successes, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome that you had that opportunity to work with somebody like Baron Batch. Not a lot of people have that opportunity. And sometimes for artists, you get into making art from the perspective of being like a very introverted person. But when you're getting into all this business stuff that requires a very extroverted mind, definitely, and like needing to connect with people. So, you know, prior to all of this, you know, where were you on the spectrum of an introvert versus extrovert? Like, how did you feel you fell on there?
I think I've always been very outgoing. I think I've been fortunate enough. Both of my parents have gifted me with the gift of gab. So like, I can talk. I love small talk and I love conversation. So I've always been pretty extroverted.
You know, it's funny. I feel like you bringing that up, it really makes your work, like your art, make a lot more sense.
Really?
And like talking about how your art, you wanted to be a conversation and you wanted to connect with people.
Yeah.
And then you were already coming from the position of already being an extroverted person going into that.
Definitely.
It says a lot, you know, versus somebody that maybe gets into painting darker things or, you know, work that maybe is a little like more intense.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to generalize, but you know, maybe some of those people that paint darker things, it's because, you know, they're coming from a darker place. And like, whereas your work is just super positive and super easy to talk about because the person that's creating it is, you know, a social butterfly of sorts.
I think I don't want to get it misconstrued. I do think that I put a piece of negativity into my artwork. Like, if we were to look at a piece of my like one of my paintings, I like to line the backgrounds with comic books, and I'm always constantly looking for negative scenery. Like I want to keep in mind, like, those people that are painting those dark scenes, like that's another story about positivity that you have to take into account. Like, you can't have the good without the bad.
Sure.
So, like, those are just
yin and yang.
Yeah, for sure. So like, I like to keep a essence of that in my work as well, to where like, if you were to dissect into my paintings, you see the positive colors and the bright imagery on the foreground, but underneath of that, there's another surface to it where like, you find connections to your life that may be troubling or hard or difficult to handle. And there's another conversation to be had on that level as well.
Sure. There's like the inspiration for positivity sometimes comes from really dark places.
Definitely. I mean, you can't have your best day without experiencing the worst day. It wouldn't feel as good, you know? Like it'd be lacking. It'd be missing something. Like, trust me, for every one good day I have as a painter, there's 3 terrible days the weeks before that I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, there's a reason it's called painting, like the whole pain. It's so true. I've been hurting, and it's just you get so many bad days to the good day. Like, and I want to definitely like emphasize that, like, don't give up because of a bad time, because that's just going to push those better days further. You know, it really is powerful like that.
Now, we mentioned the friendship sessions, which is the video series that you're doing at Studio Friendship or Friendship. Is it Studio Friendship? Is that what you said?
Friendship on Friendship Avenue in Friendship, Pennsylvania.
Hard to forget that.
I've been slapping people in the face with the obvious. So like, spread love. Come on, spread love. It's as easy as that. Studio Friendship, Friendship Avenue. Be my friend. Let's just talk. You know, It's just obvious and to the point. And I think simple. Simple is what is effective.
So you're using Studio Friendship as a studio space.
Yes.
How has having a dedicated environment to create art in affected your work?
It's motivated me heavily. Like, I mean, there's days I wake up and I look at work and I'm like, why is that still here? I want that out there in the world. There's days where I look at it and I'm like, oh, I hate that painting. Take it down. Let me paint over it. And I do often paint over work and start fresh. And just waking up, like, this is a living, working studio space. This is my full-time job and I live in this environment. So I wake up every morning to the sunrise right out the window, to walls lined with artwork and paint on the palette. And it's motivating. It's discouraging. It's great. It's sad. It's terrible. It's awesome. It's an array of emotion that comes with this, but it's empowering. Like, I wake up with a purpose every morning.
Hell yeah. So let's talk a little deeper about your work. I'm curious about the technical aspects of your work in terms of mediums that you use.
Okay. So it is mixed media. I start off with a comic book base, like I had mentioned. Yeah. So most of my life is spent gluing comic book pages to canvas.
Where do you acquire the comic books?
I've been an avid comic book collector since I was a kid. That's actually what got me started in art in the beginning.
Cool.
I got my first comic book, Ultimate Spider-Man #1, when I was 7. That's when I started drawing. I didn't start painting till college, but I kept that same like comic book mentality. I've always collected. I love reading comic books. I haven't had time so much so recently to read them, but I'm avidly going through dollar boxes.
Yeah.
And looking for my perfect finds for the paintings.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you start with the comic book base. Yep. And then where do we go?
So even the comic book base is a little more in depth. So I'm not just tearing the pages out and gluing them. I'm kind of looking through the pages and picking out individual panels. So I'm looking for things specific, like
specific to a painting or just
to the emotion. So like I said, this negativity underneath, I'm looking for images of, think of comic books. So every comic book's going to have like maybe a rainy page, a rainy day page, or a woman screaming in terror or crying, or a fight scene, or a police officer with their lights on, or a gun shooting. I look for scenes like that because those are relatable things. That's kind of what the news is putting out there. That's what you're always experiencing. And I'm just trying to put that positive message above all of that, you know, like keep that in the foreground, that keep that reminder that things are always going to get better. And we can kind of relate to that negativity underneath. So it's a lot of time going through the pages, tearing out that one page, that one little corner of it I like, and gluing a whole 4 foot by 4 foot canvas with all of that. So it's very time.
Is that typically the size you work in?
I actually work 3 by 3 more than anything.
Okay.
But I dabble 3 by 3. I've been working a lot recently with the square composition, and I kind of enjoy it. It kind of like the geometry of it. It's kind of like easy to work with. I like it.
Okay. So now you got your canvas glued up, ready to go. What are you going for next?
Okay. So then diving into that, I dissect my artwork by colors, by layer. So I typically you could kind of look at the process and pick out one after another what I do. I start with the like base layer, which on the comic books I typically do. I've been trying to combine like a landscape portrait painting. So I'm painting this beautiful landscape scenery with some type of image of a person on the foreground.
What are you using for painting?
House paint or acrylic, depending. Yeah.
Cool.
I found out how you could get a lot more house paint for the less price of a tube of artist's acrylic. So,
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on, like a 5-gallon bucket of paint. It doesn't go for very much compared to like a $20 tube of titanium white that's this big. So yeah, I've been dabbling with the house paint a lot more. And then I heavily dilute my paint with water because when you look at my artwork, you could still see all the comic books underneath. There's a transparency level to it to where you're looking at this beautiful image. And sometimes people don't even notice the comic books underneath, but they're still there and present and visible. So it's heavily diluted house paint and acrylic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you typically use? Do you dabble with any markers or spray paint? I mean, I feel like spray paint would be a good one for you, but I don't know if you do.
No, I had done it a lot. Like when I was in college, I was experimenting with a lot of different things, spray painting, paint markers. I still do use on occasion, and spray painting. It's just an inconvenience of like the fumes. Like I said, this is a living, working space. I can't expect to sleep in my bed after spending 8 hours spray painting aerosols into the air. So I avoided that. And then, there's something that, like I said, the art history background, the traditional aspect of taking a paintbrush and creating this image on a canvas. It just feels like, I don't put myself on the level of like the greats and the masters, but like I do want to at least embellish them and like look at their accomplishments.
Your art, you definitely have your own voice in your art, and you can see it in the brush strokes. And I feel that if you weren't using brushes, it would drastically change
Thank you, man.
the look of your art.
Yeah. So when I'm using the layering to it, like with each layer that I approach, I'm putting like a larger diluted glob on there. So you can even see like the process of the brush with everything. It's almost textural or sculptural on the canvas surface. And on the right light, when you kind of glare from side to side, you could see like the indentations of where the paint
totally.
is.
Yeah. It's awesome. How long does it typically take you to finish a piece?
So if you were watching the Studio Friendship sessions, I paint those paintings in one day. Like most of my pieces I like to do, it's like a feeling, it's like an energy. I have to do it. And I like painting to live music. So typically I'll paint on stage at venues with bands and musicians and try and get it done by the end of their set. Yeah. So I've done a painting. I just recently did a show at Black Forge Coffee with Gold Castle. It was Abstract Theory's like album preview, I think. It was a preview show. And they had a 35-minute set. I had the painting done by the end of the set. So 35 minutes. That painting is actually on display at Round Corner Cantina as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
walk on down.
Take a Scooby.
It's only 3-hour
walk. But I love painting on stage. So I try to get it done in that experience. So not only are you buying or purchasing or witnessing this piece be created, but you're also part of that experience. Like you could say, not only am I feeling these negative emotions from the comic books, feeling the positive message over top of it, seeing it happen live, but I'm also part of that experience because I was there, And like, I love that aspect of it. I love documenting it with the friendship sessions. Like I said, I have 12 paintings I've done in 2019 that you could watch on YouTube to a local artist live music. It's
where
awesome.
Exactly on YouTube can people find that stuff?
Studio Friendship. There is another Studio Friendship, but they don't use an I. So we're going to use that to our advantage. It's just friend, END, no I. But we're Studio Friendship.
Oh, and they're
traditional
Studio
spelling. Yeah, you're just Studio Friend. I don't know. We got lucky. I don't know. It was such an obvious thing. I was like, oh, Studio Friendship's taken. And then when it was, I was like, they forgot the I. This is someone looking out. I don't know. So Studio Friendship. You could look up friendship sessions. You could look up your favorite local artist by name or Zachary Rutter Art, and it'll all pop up. In Palermo. You could look us up by our individual characters. You can find us on Instagram. We have a Facebook page. It's out there, and we want people to see it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's very interesting about it, and I think also opens another conversation about the individual musicians, is that we require each musician to do an original song and a cover song. So they kind of show a little bit about their influences in their cover song selection, or they're funny or out of left field, and it's fun. It's really,
what would be fun is if when the band was performing a cover song, you had to reinterpret a famous painting.
Oh, that would be really interesting. Actually, I love that. I mean, when I'm approaching these friendship sessions, it's really like me just popping through sketchbooks. Like I'm constantly sketching. So I'm not really putting thought into what I'm doing specifically for the person. I'm just kind of doing a painting. I'm doing my part because they picked their part, Yeah. But like trying to repeat some old things, which I do reference older artwork and famous paintings in the past as well. So that's a fun idea I would like to dabble with.
Hey. If you get me on, maybe that's what we could do.
That could be fun, definitely. Yeah, I would love this. I would like I'm looking forward to seeing the footage of you performing later tonight as well. I've seen you at Black Forge. I've seen you a couple other times, and it's fun.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun. We have our whole gimmick here today. All these screens and everything. We put on a show. There's costume changes.
Oh, that's nice.
I'll leave it at that. I don't know. It's fun, but we're not here to talk about me.
Okay,
we're here to talk about you.
All right.
So. Outside of art, all right, Lawrenceville Art Crawl. Who cares?
Yeah.
What I want to know about is what you're putting in your belly when you're hungry. You've had a long day painting. You got the paint munchies.
I have the worst diet.
What
of all
is Zachary going to munch on when he has them paint munchies?
Not in any particular order, but like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Okay.
Macaroni and cheese.
All right.
Top ramen. Beef. I mean, I have the worst diet.
You have an artist diet. You know, it's funny, if I didn't know you and I just looked in your cupboard, I'd be like, oh, I bet this is an artist.
Oh man, yeah. Anything you could add water to and throw in the microwave, I'm your guy.
So you're adding water to paints, you're adding water to foods.
Yeah.
What else you adding water to?
Baths. I love bubble baths. I'm a big fan of the bubble bath.
Okay,
so bath bombs.
So if we're talking bubble baths and you're going with scents, what's like your
lavender?
Lavender.
I'm a big lavender guy.
You're a lavender bubble bath guy.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
I love it. I honestly, like, on my days where I have nothing going on, which has been getting more and more rare, I like to just hang out in the bubble bath. And
Yeah, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. There's been a lot of times, like, on, being a performing artist on weekends, I'm so used to having events where if there's like a Friday night and nothing's going on, like, there's a part of me it's like, oh, I can go see a friend's band or something. And then there's another part of me it's like, oh, I could just sit
and do
in the bathroom and do nothing.
Yes.
It's awesome.
I totally
We need it though.
I
think that it's really hard to be able to continuously create without giving yourselves those breaks to, check in on yourself and just relax.
Definitely. But there's also the other side of it where you said, like, checking out other people's shows. Like, it's very hard to expect people to want to follow you and do what you're doing if you're not putting in the effort to do what they're doing. And I find it very difficult sometimes when you're working every weekend doing your own thing, like trying to get the energy to want to do that or want to stay at home and get a bubble bath. Like, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's a decision that needs to be made. But there's so much going on in the city of Pittsburgh. It's exciting times to be here right now.
Yeah, there is definitely a lot going on. It's pretty intimidating. Like I mentioned, I've been doing the podcast now for about 5 years. I've had easily over 300 guests.
That's exciting too,
over 200
that's
episodes.
Like, you're at the front of the line for podcasts in Pittsburgh.
And there's still a lot of people to talk to.
Oh yeah.
So it's not stopping anytime soon.
That's what I love about it. That's why I always like to try and be at an interview or like not be at an event or at a show, because like there's always someone that would like to hear what you have to say. And if you're putting out a positive message, there's going to be an open ear that wants to help listen to that and push that message as well.
Absolutely. Outside of painting, do you have any hobbies that you actively pursue? Music at all? You a music guy?
I used to really want to be a rapper, and I do still regularly write music.
You can rap here later if you want. You got some bars still?
No, I do have bars, but I'm not going to spit those for anybody. They're not hard bars. They're the softest bars.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I did.
They about lavender bubble baths?
Yeah, no, but they feel like it. No, I did. I love music. It's a passion of mine. Just being able to paint alongside some of the greatest talents in Pittsburgh is just such an honor. I wish I could play the guitar. I have tried. I've learned slower songs, but I can't get to that next level to keep me interested. It's always just trying to learn things and keep trying to do it, but I can't. I give up on music to focus on art and painting.
It's really hard. I always talk about, putting your life on a pie chart, and you have that 100%. And the more things you try to do, you have to divide up the pie chart.
Definitely.
So if you're doing 10 different things,
it's difficult. It's difficult to give enough.
How do you divide that all up evenly?
And like, I'm lucky enough to where like I'm doing what I love. I'm painting. So like I say I do a painting a day. If it's not a painting that day, I tried to do at least 1 or 5 or 10 sketches, like doodles, anything I could do. Gluing comic books is my biggest thing. So like I haven't had a hobby in a while. Yeah, no.
It's like being a restaurant. It's all in the prep.
Seriously, no, it is. Like when I said I did a painting in 30 minutes at Black Forge, I prepped it for 3 days before that,
Sure.
but I did that in 30 minutes that time, but it's all in the preparation. I totally get that.
With, being, having your art on the bus. Ooh, I forgot to bring somebody to do that. Good thing I heard that. Whoa, I'm falling off a chair. Hello. Hi. What's the biggest project you've done to date?
The bus was huge, but I mean, that was more so just back and forth emailing. Project wise, I got to paint a food truck in the past. I got to do a pediatrician's office, which was 5 patient rooms. I got to paint a BMW car about 3 years ago. So like I've had some really unique opportunities, and I'm just I keep pushing those and trying to do new things. So I mean, actually, if you don't mind, right now I'd like to make an announcement. I just got an email yesterday that I was accepted as one of the finalists in the Healthy Bike Pittsburgh art bike competition that they have going on.
Okay.
So it looks like I might be painting one of the rentable bikes in the city of Pittsburgh very soon. So,
oh, that's super cool.
yeah, I'm very excited. It seems like I'm falling into this trend of getting my art on vehicles. So if it has wheels and moves, I'm your guy. But no, I was very excited to actually get this competition was something I saw on Facebook. A friend of mine had messaged it to me. I reached out with a proposal, resume, a few pieces of work, and a nice little write-up of why I wanted to do it. And I found out last night that I was accepted and one of the finalists, and I'm excited to announce that here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
It's going to be very fun. Hey, thanks for coming out, guys. I'm happy you stayed around.
Yeah. Once again, for anybody tuning in live on the Facebooks, we're at Full Pint Wild Side Pub for the Lawrenceville Art Crawl. Things are just starting today. There's going to be a big, long day. How long are you going to be down at Cantina for?
My art has been on display since Wednesday, and it's going to be up, I think, until tomorrow. I'm going to be hanging out until I run out of stuff to sell and stickers to give out. So I'm going to be giving out free stickers for as long as I can. Hopefully till 8. I want to stay all night if I can, 8 or 9, whenever it all wraps up. But if not, I'll be there for most of the day.
Yeah, we got, for those of you on the Facebook, which is this camera, anybody watching this later, sorry. But... yeah, we got My Favorite Color coming down. We got BB Guns. We got Abstract Theory. We got Isaiah Small, Brittany Chantel, Sykes and New Violence. We got music going till 11 down here today.
That's that's full pint. Like the summer camp I know is performing down the way. They're fantastic. Layla Rose is fantastic. There's a lot of talent in the city of Pittsburgh. I can name all 200 plus groups that are down here, but Lawrenceville is the place to be today if you like art, if you like music, and you like meeting new people. So absolutely, it's a fun day. It's a fun day.
Yeah. With doing live events like this and other events. I mean, I met you at, I think, Rhythm and Brews. Yeah. I think I met you at Rhythm and Brews a couple years ago.
Rhythm and Brews, yep.
It's been really cool being a part of these events because it's really bringing all of these people together.
Really?
Prior to doing any of these events, how connected with the local arts and music scene were you?
Very little. I mean, I graduated from college last year.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Slippery Rock University. Okay. So, I mean, I was only, and at the same time, I was doing that apprenticeship with Barron. So I was working on school 5 days a week up north and Slippery Rock and driving back every weekend to do these art, like murals and studio work and just learn the craft. So not very connected at all. In Slippery Rock, I had a good connection with the music program and things like that. But coming back to Pittsburgh, getting involved with Red Fish Bowl and getting out and meeting these groups and being involved in it really just helped. Like it's so easy. Like Pittsburgh's so small. The scene's so tiny. You can know everybody in just a few visits of these shows. And everyone's so open and friendly to just meet and talk. Like it's a cool place to be right now.
Definitely. So, I want to thank you for coming down, being a part of this chat. I don't know if we have anything else to really chat about right now as we sit here in Full Pint Wild Side Pub.
Yeah, I would like to mention, I do feel like I'm on The Price is Right holding this microphone or something. Like, I don't know, the big green ball, I was just waiting for Ball Barker to tell me to come on down. Like, I don't know if you felt this way or not, but I don't know. I've never actually held a microphone, you don't really ever, how often does an average person hold a microphone in their lifetime?
Bars.
Oh, no. I'm spitting bars into my voice memo on my iPhone alone in the bathroom or something. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. No. All right. We'll end it on this. We're not gonna end it all awkward. We're gonna end it on one final question.
All right.
And it's the big one.
Okay.
It's not so much a what's in the future for Zachary, but what is one thing that you're really hoping to achieve with your artwork in the next 2 years? We'll keep it small.
I don't know.
What's the goal? What are you doing? What are you doing, Zach?
I'm painting.
Zachary, sorry.
I am painting, okay? I want to do more mural work, more street work, more community work. I've been really trying to reach out to my hometown, my home area of Pittsburgh to get involved with the school district and working with schools and children. I love the aspect of doing a mural with like a community, with someone helping and something like that. I'd love the idea of doing some more public work. Like the few pieces that I have, like I have a bus driving around the city, and every single day, like seriously every single day since that bus has hit the street, I've gotten at least one photo, one message, one phone call of someone that said, "Oh my goodness, I finally saw this." Yeah. It's so exciting.
I saw it downtown.
I love it.
I didn't message you, but I saw it. I was like, word.
That's awesome. That's it's your moment, man. Do it with it what you will. I saw it this morning on my way down here today, and it kind of just made me feel like today was going to be a good day, you know. And that's what the bus is meant to represent. Like I actually, my dad works with somebody that like works at Port Authority as well, and she said that a lot of the drivers like to try and fight for that bus because like people are constantly taking pictures and waving, and like they just love the feeling of being on that bus as well. So like I hope that I'm spreading that message of positivity in a good way, and I think that the bus is really helping that.
That's super killer. So you know, besides Round Corner Cantina, which is about a 2-day walk down the street, where can people find you, find your artwork, and all that? Okay, I have so right now, actually, for the rest of the month, you could see some of my work at Level Up Studio on Penn Avenue. Shout out Level Up, love those guys. I worked with them for First Friday for the Penn Avenue Gallery crawls this month. Cool. This Wednesday at Sing Sing Dueling Piano Bar, if you guys have ever been there, it's down at the waterfront in Homestead. I'm going to be having a solo art show with a musician, Carl Bailey, who is a house musician at Sing Sing. He's going to be doing his original music and playing some covers as well. It's going to be fun time. Are you live painting at that? I haven't really decided yet. I know we're going to be auctioning a painting off at the event, but I don't know if I'm going to be live painting. And if I do live paint, that'll be the painting that I auction off. I haven't committed fully yet. I just want to get some more information. Other than that, why not? Are you just trying to like hang out in an event for once? You know, that's kind of it. Like I totally understand that. Yeah. Seriously, man. Sometimes it's more fun to put the event on and watch everyone do the thing because it's like, oh, I get to talk to like 50 people while they're doing the thing, you know? And I love that. Like when I'm painting, it's like I shake my booty a little bit for the crowd and then I throw some stickers out, you know? It's like a rock show. It's pretty great. But I like don't get to talk to them and interact with them, you know? Yeah, that's one thing. I guess we didn't chat really at all about like event promoting and planning, which I guess maybe you've dabbled a little bit in that. I don't know how much you have. I've gotten involved with it more. I've been putting on a lot of things myself recently, like just to get involved. And luckily lately we really didn't have to. Like Red Fish Bowl, some musicians are always putting things on. There's always something going on. If you kind of just dabble your toe, stick your toe in the water, someone's going to say, "Hey, dude, I got an event for you." So. It is kind of like I think I can relate though, just as typically a lot of the events that I go to, I'm either running sound or playing a set or both, like today. Yeah. And you know, it's rare now that I have an opportunity to sit down and talk with somebody at an event. But even this isn't like a 50-50 genuine conversation. I mean, it's genuine, but it's still for a purpose besides like us just talking. Hey, we do have microphones and cameras. I love it. So, you know what I mean? It does it's still working to some aspect. But this is cool though. This is bringing conversation out to the people. The people are out here listening, enjoying, maybe chiming in at some points. And it's fun. It's just cool. Yeah. And check out Zachary. Check out Zachary's art. Look for that bus. If you're on Facebook now, come on down to Lawrenceville. Stop at Round Corner Cantina. Round Corner Cantina. Yeah. I haven't even drank the beer that I got before we started this, and I'm already blah, blah. I went down to Round Corner this morning for mimosas, so I've been partying hardy all day. Word. Yeah, but no, if you're coming down to Lawrenceville today, stop by, check out his art, check out some music and art across all the way from Round Corner all the way down to Full Pint. This is not a bad place to end your night, considering we're playing later. That's a little biased of an opinion, but that's fine. It's my show. I can do what I want, right? Yeah. Cool. So I want to thank you for stopping down, taking the time. It's been nice. Yeah. Lovely chat. You're a good person. You're doing cool things. You're great, man, dude. Hey, you're a pioneer with the podcast, and then you've been at the forefront of everything for a while, man. I'm just a girl in the world. That's all they'll let me be, right? All right. Very pretty girl at that, man. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, and I'll do my outro and all that stuff later. So I guess I really don't know how to end this. I've never done this before. This is my first podcast. It's all been a hoax. No, but thank you for coming over, and thank you guys for sticking around. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me here. Yeah. Live music coming up later, I guess. Goodbye. Cool.